Hi, Andrew from Sachs, and welcome to video number 5 in our 9-video sequence on stakeholder engagement. This is all about how to build a stakeholder engagement in terms of starting well, doing the middle bit well, and finishing well. First thing that we want to talk about is a thing called the primacy and recency effect. This has been known for many years in psychology. You see, this paper goes back to 1958, and the primacy and recency effect says that if you look at what people learn over the course of an interaction, this is a 40-minute interaction, that the first bit and the last bit are more important than what happens in the middle. And this is perfectly right from a stakeholder interaction point of view. Let's say you interact with somebody for an hour. What goes on in the first 5 to 10 minutes is way more powerful than what takes place for the following 40 minutes. And certainly what takes place in the last 5 to 10 minutes. It has been estimated, for instance, that up to 80% of feelings like, I trust this person, I like this person, I think this is heading in the right direction, 70 to 80% of all of that may be built in the first and last bits of your interaction with people. So that's something that's worth knowing. The question then is, how do you start well? And this is the primacy effect. Now, one of the things that can be really powerful is the use of approach behavior. Approach behavior in a physical sense can literally be when somebody walks into the room, you stand up and you walk towards them, and if it's appropriate, you might seek to shake their hand or at least to step towards them and smile at them. That kind of approach behavior says, I want to build a relationship with you. I am a trustworthy person. I have nothing to hide. Approach behavior can be very powerful. Now, for instance, if you are speaking at a conference, I coach people to do so on occasions. One of the things that I recommend is don't stand behind a lectern. I mean, that's a distancing behavior. I suggest you walk right up to the front of the stage, and yes, this does take confidence, but seek to make eye contact with as many people as you can. And then when the ratings come out, you'll be rated as engaging because you are using approach behavior. Approach behavior can also be words. It's great to see you. Hey, today's a good day, isn't it? I'm looking forward to this meeting. Those kinds of things can be really powerful. Your personal and professional presentation, is it what they expect? When I work with a construction site, for instance, I wouldn't dress like this. I would dress far more appropriately to what the stakeholders would be used to. And I think what that does is it breaks down the distance from them in terms of your interaction, but it causes you to be what they expect. On the other hand, if you go to a boardroom to meet a board of a corporation, then you'll probably be suited up, if you want to put it that way. Things like perception of well-being, it's not very fair in life, but there is no doubt about it that people like to interact with people that they perceive to have high levels of well-being. So if a person is healthy looking, if they look well rested, if they look confident, if they look in general well presented, we prefer that. We do this unconsciously, of course, but it is something that will affect stakeholder relationships. And finally, the clarity of your destination. Where are you taking us? One of the things that I recommend very strongly to start any meeting is to start off by saying, well, actually, not just a meeting, maybe a phone call, to say, okay, after you've done all the niceties, all the approach behavior of, hey, it's good to speak to you and so forth, here's what I'm calling for. How does that suit you? Is now a good time to speak? So two things. One is that you're telling the person what you're seeking to achieve from this meeting, but secondly, what you're doing is that you're getting their buy-in, you're asking for their affirmation. So you phone somebody and you're saying, is it a good time to talk? Here's what I'm calling you about. How does that sound? Just that brief affirmation of what it is that the whole meeting's about and causing them to have a chance to express their buy-in or alternative to that, then that's a really powerful way of building trust before you even start. Then there's the middle bit of the presentation. If you see a presentation and it doesn't have a clear structure, you know what that feels like. Not sure that the objectives that were set at the beginning are being achieved. Where are we in the sequence that was outlined? Is it logical and easy to follow? Is the wording straightforward and clear? Is it interesting? Are we going into too much detail? I think one of the most powerful techniques that you can use in interacting with stakeholders is, let's say you've got a really important phone call to make. Why not write down the topics that you're wanting to cover and make sure that you're clear in those in your mind before you actually call them? It's going to give a far more professional experience to the person that you're interacting with if you're clear on what you want to do and that clarity comes across to them. That's a really useful thing to do. Now, if you're building a presentation, one of the things that I love to do is to put down the headings, and sometimes I even put them down on strips of paper or done it digitally where you move things around and you'll actually talk to somebody about the sequence that you're thinking of using. Does this make sense? And they might say, well, actually, I think this bit should come here. That's really useful feedback and guidance to come up with the right presentation sequence so that it's easy to understand. Another thing is wording. Golden rule of stakeholder engagement: use their wording. Don't use your wording. Wording is both welcoming but distancing. And if you're using their wording, you're having the opportunity to cause them to see, okay, this person is one of us rather than one of them. It's just the most automatic thing in the world for us to default to our own wording, but it is distancing. In terms of building the sequence of a presentation, one of the things that some people use, this is from Tony Bazan's wonderful book about mind mapping. Tony Bazan's a great believer in mind mapping. He thinks that things work radially from a conceptual point of view. So you have this concept of time management in the middle, and then you have all of these issues about time management that can be built around the core concept of time management. And so that can be a way of ensuring that you've captured the entire universe of what you want to cover in, let's say, a formal presentation. But then one of the things that you can do is on that mind map, you can number it. So I'm going to deal with this first, this second, this third, this fourth, and that can build a sequence. You can see all of the ideas laid out that can be really useful for building a presentation, making it cohesive and making it sensible in the way that it hangs together. The next thing I want to talk about is getting the final impressions right. It should be a summing up of what's gone before, a clarity of drawing the information together, suggesting how the information that you've imparted can be used, or being clear about next steps. Let's talk about what we've agreed. And one of the things that can be very professional is after every meeting, send people a quick email saying, okay, this is what we've agreed. I'm going to do this, you're going to do this, it will be done by this time. Now, the reason that I say this is that I'm sure that you've had meetings in recent times where halfway through you're thinking, well, hang on, what is this meeting about? What are we seeking to achieve? And maybe after you've left a meeting, you've looked back and you say, well, what actually happened in that meeting? What was resolved? We all know that people complain bitterly about the number of meetings that they go to that don't achieve anything. This is a way of avoiding that. Use approach behavior, use objective setting, get people's buy-in to make sure that the start goes well. Ensure that the middle bit is logical and clear by practicing and planning that. And finally, never leave the meeting without resolving what has been agreed and understanding and defining what the next points of action will be. That's a way of causing meetings to start well and finish well. And then the middle bit, of course, is important as well. The next video in this sequence will be about neuroscience, the neuroscience of influence. We'll be talking to you about a thing called the old brain, new brain divide and how that can be a really important thing from a stakeholder management point of view. Click on the link near this video to join us.